Hello and welcome to DDOcast episode 323, recorded over the weekend of February 9th. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week is nobody. I'm doing the show by myself since it's a recorded show. Had a busy weekend, a lot of stuff going on. This week's screenshot, Lily has fun skating around during the Risia Ice Games in our newest screenshot of the week. Thanks, Lily, for the screenshot. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Google Plus Hangouts, YouTube, or from our website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by CyberEars, the awesome podcast hosting network. Shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be on Sunday, February 16th in the morning, Pacific time. If you can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDOcast.com, particularly with our calendar. On the podcast this week, we have Update 21 news on Lemania. We also have a walkthrough of Inferno of the Damned. Should be lots of fun for folks. We'll get started with the game news this week. The Players' Council roster has been announced. We'll link that in the show notes. I'm not going to read them all. There's just some 30 names. The DDO Forum Community Guidelines will be seeing some changes coming up. Again, I'm not going to read these, but I'll link them in the show notes. You might want to read through those if you're going to be posting on the forums. It's mostly common sense stuff. There's not a lot of changes, although there's some grumblings about some things here and there, but mostly they're updating the guidelines to kind of more coincide with some things that they've been doing for a while. I think it also is bringing it more in line with the Lotro community guidelines as well. There's some news on the Divine Destiny spheres. Bergwill said that the Divine Crusader may not make it to Update 21 because they may be delayed to the following patch. They're looking at a lot of things right now, including changing Exalted Angel towards more offensive casting, particularly for DC casting and light spell damage. They're looking at changing Unyielding Sentinel towards more tanking and support, including being the best healing destiny in the sphere. They're aiming for Divine Crusader's primarily offensive melee destiny, but it would likely retain most of its current abilities, including some area support and fire spell damage. They're looking at moving existing melee abilities out of Exalted Angel and into Divine Crusader, with the possibility of relatively minor modifications, such as removing the Righteous Fervor requirement from Strike Down and balancing appropriately, which could be either up or down. They're looking at moving Renewal, which is a pretty popular healing ability, into Unyielding Sentinel, and looking into adding some other support healing abilities into Unyielding Sentinel. They're looking at moving some offensive casting from Divine Crusader into Exalted Angel, and they may add some new abilities to replace the missing ones. Healing would still be available to some extent in all Divine Destinies, and they are re-examining the Exalted Angel requirements for Righteous Fervor and Endless Ardor in any case. They're also continuing to examine Unyielding Sentinel abilities. Bergwell continues to write that we're happy to hear continued feedback. These changes can meaningfully alter how some existing characters function, which we don't like to do lightly. Renewal seems to be the most contentious part, which isn't entirely surprising. We're happy to discuss, especially as there's clearly been players on multiple sides of this issue. If you'd like to push one side or the other, start with this basis, which most of us seem relatively happy with, both players and developers here at Termine. It's kind of an outline of where they want each of the three trees to go. So with Divine Crusader, they're looking at primarily melee offense, some area damage buffs, and some fire spell offense. Exalted Angel, offensive spell casting, both DC and direct spell damage, including light. Then Unyielding Sentinel, tanking, and some support abilities. Please presume that each of these is good at its given purpose. We don't always get everything perfect the first time, but we do have to presume we'll get there, or all the planning in the world doesn't matter. Given that starting point, convince us which should be best at healing. Note that each of these destinies retains some kind of healing support, though it may be fairly indirect in some cases, for example, Divine Wrath. They're also happy to hear more discussion on when, if, how difficult Renewal should be able to self-target, including the possibility of not being able to twist it at all. This is not a statement of intent on our part, just explicitly asking for more what players have already commented on. Dr. Octothorpe gave us a preview of the loot from Haunted Halls and Thunderholm Explorer area. He wrote that since what has been dropping in the Haunted Halls chest on Lemania is an early prototype, he thought he would share what is actually being planned for Haunted Halls treasure. As mentioned a bit back, the quest offers 6, quote, classic items inspired by treasure in the original module. Each item can be upgraded once using Zentarium tokens, The tokens drop in modest rates in the core version of the quest and fair rates in the extended version. They also drop at different rates between normal, hard, and elite. These items will have no or very small drop rates from the core and extended main bosses. You'll primarily win them from challenging optional bosses found beyond them. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this stuff. I want to leave it for the folks that like to discover some of the stuff on their own. However, we'll link the thread in the show notes. You can kind of get a look at what they're looking at doing for them. The loot was not horribly well received. There wasn't necessarily anything that was spectacular. And it's comparable to what's already in the game, but it wasn't, perhaps it wasn't as big of a step as a lot of people wanted to see. In any case, some of the items had some interesting and new abilities, so they're kind of fun to look at. I'm not sure that any of them, maybe one or two of them will become pretty useful, but a lot of them maybe not quite so much. Lemania was up this weekend for round 3 of Update 21. With that, they were doing a giveaway. You could win a +5 Supreme Tome. To do that, you had to complete either of the 2 new Thunderholm raids or the extended version of Haunted Halls of Eveningstar, which would automatically enter into a drawing. They were going to do a data poll to see who completed it and then base their random drawing from that list. But unfortunately, Lemania is already down by the time that you're going to hear this recording. So, sorry, folks. Hopefully some folks got in there and were able to participate in that, and good luck to those who did. I'm not going to go through all of the release note updates. Mostly, the 2 new raids were added, as well as guest passes for the content. So that'll make it so anyone can run the content in that fashion. There were a couple of other notes worthy of mentioning. The first was that Purple Dragon Knights, both male and female, are no longer secretly petite and shouldn't fall through holes in the world that other races don't. That was primarily happening in A Break in the Ice. Also in the dungeon House of Death Undone, that's in Shindelrin, one of the Chain 2 quests for the Menace of the Underdark update. Players must now obtain the green kitchen key to unlock a door to the kitchen. The key will randomly spawn in either the House Temple to Loth room or the Servant's Quarter room. They mentioned that this was probably going to happen a while back. They wanted to extend the quest length a little bit. Bonus days, they are expanding the definition of bonus days to include events like the Degenev brothers, which most people regard as being pretty lame. There are a pair of illusionist brothers that can be found in the marketplace from time to time. Basically, you give them some gold and they will start their magic act. You can run around and collect, basically succubi, as many as you want as you can within the time frame. If enough are collected, you will be granted a buff that works even with quest zones. It's a +2 to skills. Basically, the kind of complaint here was this is rather lame in comparison to certain other bonuses that we're kind of more used to. And festivals, like the Midwinter festivals, which, by the way, are going on through February 17th. Festivals like Midwinter Festival and Maybar and stuff like that is not necessarily stuff that everyone likes to run. So people were a little upset that bonus days are going to be expanded to include that stuff. They want bonuses to challenge ingredients and XP, guild renown, that kind of stuff. Bugs. There's bugs this week. There's basically fake inventory slots, or empty inventory slots. One of the bug investigation folks found a bug where an item will accidentally appear behind another item, causing behavior basically that it looks like you have an empty slot, but you can't actually put something into it. It's not the empty slot is actually empty, rather the slot is filled with an item that is being displayed as sitting behind another item. It's a pain, but one way to fix this is to create several real open slots and then shift items around until you find the culprit. Kurovan suggested that you start by looking behind your bags first, which a lot of people posted that they were having some success with. Store news this week, you can get +5, or you could get +5 tomes through February 9th. Unfortunately, this will not go out until that is over. You can also get Autos boxes. The Heroic Autos boxes will be available through February 17th. Sales for the week, you can get 20% off of augments and augment tools, 20% off of select cosmetic armor kits, 20% off hats and helms, and you can also get a free bracelet of friends with the code WARP8, and that's 1 per account. Community news, the 79th Chronicle came out. Cats looks is playing a bard in a new blog post. You can look there for tips if you're looking to play a bard. Coffee is creating a new user channel for Orion players to socialize. Basically, the user chat is social. You can join that by typing join channel social. The channel is not exclusive. Everyone is welcome to join, so you can come by and say hello if you're on Orion. The guild this week is the Triskelion Foundation Trust. It's a small Kenneth-based guild opening its doors to new members. The guild is currently level 44 and has a constant activity level. Guild members describe themselves as, quote, old school RPGers. You can also you can go to the Chronicle if you want to find out some more information about how to find them. The comment for the week, what is the nickname of the Lord of Blades' little-known younger brother? And I'm going to say that his nickname is the Prince of Pillows. The DDO Gamer discussed the defeat of Vela in a new blog post. He finally managed to do that with his gamer girl. Congratulations, guys. Well done. DDOcast got a shout-out for our casting wizard builds discussion. And Enrique runs in the Red Fens. You can go look there. IGN has also released a list of the top 11 Dungeons & Dragons games of all time, and DDO made the list at number 11. Barely made it in, but we did so nonetheless. There's also a new Twitch channel for the DDO devs. You can look at that, and you can hopefully catch some of them playing. They're going to be doing this a little more often in the future. It was kind of a test run, but nothing really formal about it yet. There was also a community update video published on February 7th. Pretty much the only thing that I haven't mentioned so far that they mentioned in that video was that the Mournlands is ending this next week, and they gave some kudos to the Mournlanders for being a part of that. In other news, Ekrik is going to have a DDO hide-and-seek event. You can find Ekrik in Stormreach, and you can win up to 500 turbine points. He's going to be in public areas of Stormreach, always in Instance 1, on February 22nd, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the server Orion. He has 5 codes to give away worth 500 turbine points each. To participate, you must join channel Find Ekrik. You spell his name ECGRIC. Clues will be provided during the event. There will be hints about locations in Stormreach and items found in the game. He will change to a new character each time. A list of characters will be provided on the DDO forums, and he will be hiding somewhere in a public area of Stormreach, always in Instance 1. He's going to provide clues to where he is and what you must trade to him. So don't worry, these will be simple to find items that are very inexpensive, mostly collectibles. If you are the first to locate him, open a trade window and provide the item indicated by the clue, you win. And also as a bonus, anyone who also plays Lotro, he will be giving away 3 codes for a free in-game title, The Well Met. These will be given to the first 3 people that find him and request them. He is putting a limit at 1 turbine point code per character. However, the event is open to all players regardless of free, premium, or VIP account. So I wish him luck with that, and feel free to join him on the 22nd. And that's it for the news. And so what we're going to do now is do not so much a round table discussion, but it's going to be a walkthrough of Inferno of the Dam. Me kind of messing around with a very overpowered sorcerer in the quest, but I hope it's of benefit to most of those folks, particularly ones who are hesitant to run Inferno of the Dam because they are afraid of getting lost. I'll show you a nice little trick, a nice easy way to do it. Make it really easy for you. Please enjoy. Hello, DDOcast listeners. This is Shamgar, and what we're going to do today is another walkthrough. This will be a walkthrough of Inferno of the Damned. It's a quest out in the Orchard of Macabre, and it's one of the Necro Part 4 quests. It's one of the quests you need to do Litany of the Dead and the Abbot raid. It drops... it used to be the only place you could get a right frame for your sigil. Now you can get those from pretty much anywhere in the Orchard. However, it still remains the best place to find that sigil. Where we are right now, we're just zoned into the Orchard. We'll show you how to get there as well, so you have to go through this Explorer area. It's pretty simple. We're going to go to the northeast section. And as we jump off here, just pretty much straight ahead from where we zone in, you'll find a path just across the river. If you follow that path, it'll pretty much take you the entire way there. As we get out there, the quest giver is kind of in the upper orchard, or the upper necropolis, which is where the zone in for the orchard is. Although the orchard is quite a ways up the hill. You can also get a sigil from the guy with the raid chalice over his head. That's the guy that gives you Litany of the Dead and Abbot eventually, and you can put all your little sigil pieces in there. Like I said, getting here is pretty easy. We're pretty much just going to follow this path. The way that Inferno the Damned works, when we're getting there, is there's basically there's two sides to the quest. There's the Inferno section and then the normal section. They basically mirror each other. By the way, as we're passing that log bridge back there, if you need a shrine, you can go through that, and there'll be a shrine just across to that. But as I was saying, the way this works is the quest just has two layers. As you progress through the quest, you have to switch back and forth between the Inferno side and the normal side to not only just move around, but there's objectives that you have to achieve on both sides. There's a couple ways that you can teleport between the two, but mostly it's your option is some portals that we'll find on the way. So we get up top this hill, and what you're going to find, it's kind of a little tricky. You have to go to the edge of the hill, and in between these kind of formations here, stone formations, kind of look like little fingers sticking out. The quest is just down there. I'm going to do this on hard just for a little bit of fun. The goal here is not to spend a ton of time in here killing stuff, so we don't need to have a really high difficulty level here. I am on a level 28 sorcerer, so I'm a level 27 sorcerer, so it's not going to be too big of a deal here. So this is the center. This is where you zone in. It's a little tough to see because the map's not filled in yet, but basically this is the center point of what will end up being a circle. And then, as I said, it's the same on both sides. You just kind of run through the area, and you switch between the two sides, and you'll find barriers as we go that kind of prevent you from going one direction or the other. Like here behind us to the east is a barrier. On the Inferno side, this will actually be open. So get your buffs here, and what we're going to do is we're going to start by going to the west, and we'll run into a small group of mobs here. And kind of the trick here is that basically anything you kill on the normal side, you will find again on the Inferno side, in kind of its undead form. There are several traps throughout the quest. You'll see here that there's a wall kind of in a little corridor, and one of the walls is smooth. You always want to run on the opposite side of those. Doesn't appear to be one here, but oftentimes there's either blade traps or arrow traps. The blade traps are really the ones you want to watch out for. This hall has the faces on it. That's where you're going to get the arrow traps. The blade traps, though, those are the ones that are going to get you pretty good. As we didn't get very far here, and there's a little offshoot here, and we'll find this closed door here. And this is an optional chest that takes a little trick to get to. And we can't actually open this door, and we need to get to the other side of it, and then we have to cross over to the Inferno side where the chest actually lands. To do that, we'll have to kill this guy that's in here, and he's kind of the one praying. We just stand here a little bit. Eventually he'll hopefully take notice of us. There we go. What we got to do is this Acolyte of Flame here, when he dies, anyone near him ports to the other side. So you want to kind of gather around this dude before you kill him. I'm going to kill him now. See here, now I've magically popped to the Inferno side, along with the undead versions of what I just killed on the other side. You can see here that there's a chest. Unfortunately, can't actually open it because this chest is locked. So we have to find the key. But the reason why we did this is so that we can open the door here, so we can come back later. We'll get the key in much the same fashion another time. However, we have to open this door by doing that. Now, if you don't kill that Acolyte of Flame and someone doesn't port to the other side, you're pretty much out of luck. That's the only way to get in here is to have someone near that guy when he dies. So we'll continue on our way. Now, if you don't port with that Accolade of Flame, it's the exact same path here, just down to where this portal is, just beyond that point. Now, if you're on the normal side, you need to go to the Inferno side at this point. And what you can do is basically just beat the portal up. I'm not going to beat this one up too much because I'm on the correct side. Basically, the rule of thumb is go as far as you can, and if you need to switch sides, find the portal that's closest to where you are. We'll run into a lot of dead ends that'll be pretty obvious of where we need to switch sides, but for now, we're going to stay on the Inferno side. Now as we go, we're going to get a lot of methods, particularly near these portals, which are actually spawning the methods. And they become key later in the quest to achieve some of the objectives. So here's another portal, and we're going to go ahead and beat this one up. And as you can see, it switches me back to the normal side where we started. Now this method here, I'm going to leave this one alive, because we're going to use him, hopefully, if he's not stuck. What we're doing here is, as you can see in the quest objectives, which I keep in my upper right corner, we have to find flame guardians in the north, east, south, and west. So we're at the south, with a couple of mobs here that we'll get rid of. And what we'll find is a bunch of torches.
The guardian goes as the flames do. He will not burn unless they do.
So what needs to happen here is we have to light these torches. There's a couple ways we can do that. The guys that we just killed, one of them is an arcane caster, and he'll actually shoot fireballs, which can actually light up the torches. The other way is to use this method here. So, as I said, the portals will spawn methods, so if you do kill them, you can wait for a method to spawn. Or you can cast a fireball yourself, which I will do later. But for now, what we're going to do is we'll show you how to do this. It's a little tricky to get them to light the torches. Takes a little bit of finesse. Kind of the best trick is to jump on top of the actual torch and just kind of stand there and wait for them to breathe on the torch. Of course, jumping on them is not exactly the easiest thing in the world because they're pretty small, but you get used to it with a little practice. There's 3 of them lit. You can also stand on the other side of it. Just tends to be a little trickier because he'll, one, jump up on the torch himself, thereby blocking you from getting on it, as well as not being able to actually hit the torch. As the 4th torch is lit, we'll get a nice little fire elemental here, which we gotta kill. And what you'll notice here is that in the main quest objectives, it now again says find the South Flame Guardian, but now says Inferno, indicating that we've already killed the normal side of the South Flame Guardian. Now you do have to kill them in that order. You do have to kill the normal one first before you can go to the other side. Okay, you can see as the map is kind of taking a little bit of shape. We started here in the center, went west, and then came south in a counterclockwise fashion. From this point, it's all clockwise. We're going to keep going in a clockwise fashion and finish the whole quest. Though the map can be confusing, particularly since we're going to be switching sides a lot. However, it's really simple once you get the hang of it. You go west to start, and then go south to the South Flame, and then we go back around in a clockwise fashion. As you can see, the Inferno side is very fiery. Now, we don't actually need to switch sides at this portal. We're just going to bypass it. Again, we can keep going in the direction we want to go, so we don't need to stop and switch sides. Here's another one of those walls that may or may not have a trap, so we'll stay away from it. It's always those smooth walls you want to look out for. Help keep you alive, particularly if you're doing this on Elite. You want to be careful about that. You can see here, this is the Inferno side of the West Guardian. However, the torches are not lit, but we can't actually light them. What we need to do is go to the other side and kill the Guardian on the normal side first. And as luck would have it, There is a portal right here. You may have noticed that there were some air methods instead of fire methods. That becomes important later. Look, here is the torches in exactly the same place. You can kind of get a feel for it as being literally, it's the same map, just two different sides of it. As I mentioned before, we can use a fireball like this, and if you kind of aim right in the center, you can get them all in one shot. And of course, I missed two of them. Of course, you can always just use as many shots as you need. Here's the West Flame Guardian. Now we'll go back to the other side. Oh, we have to backtrack just a little bit, since we already passed the torch on the other side. Now on the Inferno side, what we'll find is the torches are actually already lit with a blue flame this time. And what we need to do is actually blow them out. Now you notice that my Oodaluk sphere did the trick. You can also use the air method, which will blow them out in much the same fashion as the fire methods, just a different method. And what we get is the undone version of a fire elemental or a cinder spawn. Now, as luck would have it, they are still very vulnerable to cold. However, with a cinder spawn, if you actually give it some fire, they heal. So you want to be careful about doing that. You also notice the square here that I've been running around. These squares can sometimes be a trap, so we try and not run over those. On this side, it's a fire, just a pit of lava, but on the other side, it can be a springy blade trap. Alright, we're going to continue going in a clockwise fashion. You can see now that the West Guardian is no longer in our objectives. Alright, now here's the next portal. And what's up ahead here is very similar to what we did earlier with the extra chest. Again, another smooth wall. You want to watch out for a blade trap there. As you can see, there's a bunch of mobs and another Acolyte of Flame as well as a Resurrection Shrine. Now if we get around the Acolyte of Flame, go to the other side, what we'll find is the Rest Shrine that went with that Resurrection Shrine. Normally they come in pairs. However, in this case, one's on one side and one's on the other. Now this can be a little tricky. A lot of times this is where groups can run into trouble. And what happens is someone runs in, often myself, someone runs in and kills the Acolyte of Flame and ports to the other side, leaving everyone else behind. And all those people that are left behind either A, die and run into trouble there, or they keep killing stuff on that side, meaning that the person on this side has to kill more stuff as it spawns, as you kill stuff on the normal side. There's, of course, also a chest. And another lever, which will open a door, again, only from this side. So you have to get into this room, you have to be next to that Acolyte of Flame when you kill him. So make sure when you do kill him, on this side there was this same gate. You want to make sure that you're on the correct side of the gate when you do that. Otherwise, you won't be able to open the door and get the shrine. For those who do miss porting by the Acolyte of Flame, they can go back to the portal that was back here and do so in that fashion. Alright, and we're going to continue. And you can see here, this is the center on the Inferno side. We're not quite ready to go there yet, so we're just going to keep going in that clockwise fashion and round to the north. And again, here's the North Guardian, but the torches aren't lit, so we have to light them on the other side. Now, this is a little tricky one to do. You notice that I'm spotting something that is hidden. There is a secret door right here, behind which is a portal. We'll take that to the other side. And there's a lever here to open the door on this side. This is where the torches are for the side. Now you notice above me, the ceiling is completely solid. The only way to get there is from the Inferno side going through that secret door. We'll go ahead and light this up. And with the North Flame Guardian dead, we can go back to the other side. And here we are again. Some other spells that you can use do work in extinguishing the flames. You can use Ice Storm, which is available as a wand. So if you don't happen to have, aren't able to cast Oodaluk Sphere, you can use wands. I've been using a Fireball wand because I don't actually carry that spell on this character. So wands or scrolls will work in addition to actually carrying the spells. So you can use an ice storm wand. You can see there was one of those blade traps I was talking about. Again, they always appear on those nice smooth walls, and if you look at the other side, there's always an unsmooth side on the other side of that blade trap. And you can more or less miss those traps by running along the other side. And Elite, those guys will pack a pretty good punch. Alright, here's another portal, and you see a gate here which we can't get through, but if you see in there's a key. So we need to get that key. What we're going to do here is go to the other side using this portal. Get rid of this method here. And once again, inside there is another one of those Acolyte of Flames. However, sometimes he's kind of a little stubborn and doesn't like to pay attention. So what you can do is turn around, and you'll see that portal. We don't want to get too close because we don't want to go to the other side. But if we range it, we can actually just shoot the portal here. What happens is, it tends to draw his attention. And here they all are. We're going to make sure we're next to that Acolyte of Flame. Get real nice and close and kill him. To the other side we go. And we can grab that key. And that opens the chest that we found earlier. And we'll use the lever to open the door and continue on our merry way. If you're not doing the extra chest, there's no reason to switch sides. We're already there. So we want to be on the Inferno side here anyways. And we're going to keep going in our clockwise fashion. A bunch of methods here. And what you can do is you can pretty much run all the way over to where this portal is. Just let the methods kind of gather around you there. I'm going to be careful here with alert. Be a little tricky. You get a lot of methods spawning, a lot of stuff on either side. If your group gets split up, that can be a bit of a problem. There's one of those arrow traps. Again, these are somewhat random. We've passed a lot of faces and a lot of different bits and pieces. So sometimes there's traps there, sometimes there's not. Now here is the next set of Guardian torches. Get this guy down. Now notice that each one of these guys has a different name. Fire elementals are in the monster manual, and you will continue to get a hunter for each different one of these. There's actually 8 hunters because the cinder spawns count as well. Again, we're going to go south, continuing our clockwise path. Here's another one of those portals, and we'll find another gate here. You'll notice that all those Acolytes of Flames are behind a gate that's open on the one side. We can kind of just poke our head in, and there he is. Get right up next to him, and switch to the other side. Now, if you don't get here, what you can do is switch by that portal we passed earlier. However, it does kind of go to a slightly different location. So if no one gets in here, you can go that way. Now, there's a lever here, and again, you'll notice that I just went past one of those bare walls that can again have one of those blade traps. And I have known many a group to get someone on the other side, only to have that person die in that blade trap. So you want to be careful of that. So if you use that portal, this is where you end up. And there's a little hole in the floor there, and you can see there's a chest on the other side, which we can access by going through this room. And again, this is the other shrine. There's only 2 shrines, both of which you have to kill an acolyte of flame to access. There's a little bit of a trick with this chest. If you go too far, the floor actually falls out from under you. So just go as close as you can get, or just as close enough to open the whole chest. As you can see, is if I go a little bit farther, this floor can break out sometimes.
He will arise when the torches are
This doesn't want to break out today. So now we're in the south flames on the Inferno side, which was, if you remember, the first one we did. We'll take care of that.
forward with the vengeance of undeath.
Okay, and then we're going to go
One left.
north. That's pretty much the only way we can go there.
The rope
And
ascends.
here is, again, back into the center. Now, there's a lot of methods here, and you may not be able to blow out the torches by yourself. Now, the problem here is that the closest portal to each of these 2, the south and the east Flame Guardian torches, is actually to the north. And we've been here before. So if you need a method, you got to go all the way up into the northwest. That's kind of where the closest portal is. However, luckily, I can take care of that without too much trouble.
While the flames burn blue.
There's also kind of a weird thing at this one where you can kind of see behind the fire here, and you can kind of see towards the other portal, just beyond it. And the methods actually can travel through, as well as the other mobs, can travel through those barriers, the fire barriers, even though you cannot. So if you need a method, you can sometimes get a method to come through this barrier from that portal there.
The final undead guardian stands before you.
Alright, so we've killed all 4 of the cinder spawns and their corresponding fire elementals. Now what we got to do is go back to the center, which from where we are is really simple. It's just right here. And once we get in there, the end boss will spawn.
Sinis bursts into the room and attacks.
Again, another cinder spawn. Now, if you are fighting these cinder spawns and you are not Warforged like I am, you will want to be aware they do energy drain in negative level, so you want some death ward for that. They can also knock you down as you're fighting them. And they also have a cold shield, so if you're attacking them, you'll take cold damage if you don't have resistance to cold. Now this final chest here, this is the one that's going to drop your sigil pieces. You can see I got an eye. Okay, so we need to get back to that chest to open up that up. Now, the trick there is we kind of got to go back to the beginning. Now, you can take a detour. That's certainly one option. But if you don't have that, I'll show you how to do that. Just got to go on a little bit of a jaunt, kind of back to where we were. We're going to go north and then east. I mean, we've been here before. Some groups, what they prefer to do when they're doing this quest is to try not to kill anything. And the reason why they're doing that is so that you don't fight stuff on both sides. There was kind of a misunderstanding that if you killed stuff, it just kept respawning. We'll go to the northeast to get back to the start and take the first portal we can find. There'll be a few things here for us to deal with, but we can get back to the center pretty easily. Now, if you remember correctly, the chest was on the Inferno side, so we got to switch. So what we need to do is actually go just past where that chest is and switch sides. And on the other side is our chest. This used to be where shield pieces could only drop. You can only find a couple of shield pieces here. However, that's changed. It's still the most likely place that you can find a couple shield pieces, however. Make sure we got that key. There we go. You can recall out and kind of come back in the dungeon. We've already finished it, so that would have been an option. However, the person with the key does have to make it back here, because if you just recall out, the key will just drop where you are. And that is Inferno of the Dam. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. There you go, folks. I hope you found that to be beneficial for you. I was hoping to do a few more of that kind of thing in the future, but there you go. There's Inferno of the Damned. What have I been doing this week? Mostly working. I had a lot of big extra show on the side this weekend, so I worked a lot and didn't play at all weekend. But I've been getting a little bit of time during the week. I've been working up on an epic level with my main character. Post this week, Day News 1 wanted to point out regarding our casting wizard builds that elves are a classic and effective caster choice too. Arcanum is a nice combo of spell points and spell penetration. There's also the Feywild tap ability and to have the extra handy reserve tank of spell points. He also mentioned that Death Aura can be heightened. Make sure it's set to always off, which is a very good point. You're going to be using a lot more spell points. Since you'll want it for the healing, not as lower level damage output, which is absolutely correct. The Death Auras don't actually do more damage by being heightened. They just have a higher save. And since you're not really using it to do damage, you don't really need the save on there. And heighten is just going to make it a lot more expensive. There's another handy tip, especially for DC casters. For using a one-handed casting stick, craft an improved Shatter Mantle throwing knife and ding them with that first just to make sure. It's a nice little trick. Dormer wrote in. He said that episode 321 was great, and he's really enjoying the wizard build discussion. He's writing this. He'd like us to announce that his guild is currently recruiting. Here's the basics. They're on Sarlona. The name is 9 Drawn Swords. They're an 85 level guild, and he's the recruiter. They're a small guild looking to add a few players. They focus more on character leveling rather than rating, mostly due to their small size. But with the right new guildmates, rating might become more of an option. They primarily play between 8 and 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I guess 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. Eastern Time. They're looking for some players. Either new or veteran players are welcome. Just be active, enjoy the game, be willing to help out guildmates, and they look forward to giving and taking a little bit of grief. So if you want to get in touch with him, you can do that on Sarlona. They're looking to recruit. His name is Dormer. Jez wrote in asking, would it all be possible in the future to make Haunted Halls have a challenge type level selector, so all levels of player can enjoy it as they level? If so, then that would be amazing to keep going back in for different optionals as you level in heroic or epic. I don't think we're going to see that. There's a lot of different tech that goes involved between the challenges and quests, but it might happen, but I wouldn't expect it. Charlie asked if he has a friend that wants to splash Monk into his build, but of course he's not lawful. He wanted to know if he could buy the alignment change tome from the DDO store and then give it to him. It doesn't say if it's bound to account or character. As I recall, that thing is bound, I believe, to account. Pretty much anything that you buy in the store is going to be bound in some fashion or another. I think even the guest passes are actually bound. You can just use them on other players. So if you're going to buy in the store, it's almost certainly going to be bound. Now, if you want to find out for sure, there's a couple things you can do. One, you could just buy it, and then it'll let you know. But you can also, since Lemania is going to be up and down a little more frequently this year, you can hop onto Lemania, and you can buy something there and figure out what it actually is and what it's not. So that's also an option. You can also probably ask around. Asking on the forums would work as well, but I'm pretty sure alignment changes are bound to... if not character, they're bound to account. On the other hand, though, if you're listening, devs, it'd be kind of nice to maybe find some unbound alignment change things in chests around, so you could maybe put them on the auction house and sell them, or give them to friends or whatnot. And that's actually another way you can find out if something is bound. You can check on the auction house to see if there's an unbound version there. If you can't find an unbound version, it's probably not unbound. However, there are some items like experience potions which have various forms. So if you buy it in a store, it'll be bound, but if you find it in a chest, it'll be unbound. So keep that in mind. You can also, if you can find one that's unbound, you might be able to buy one there. With that, I'm going to say thanks to everyone who's contributing to DDOcast and everyone who's listening to the show. Thanks to Turbine and Wizards and Cyber Ears. Turbine and Wizards for making some fun games that we like to play. We love Dungeons & Dragons. Thank you to Cyber Ears for hosting us. You can hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, the calendar, previous shows, swag, and other fun stuff. If you want to be part of the show or just say hi, you can email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media and follow us for the latest cast updates or in-game via join channel DDOcast. Closing tip for the week comes from Nurium. It says that Cannith crafting combined with the Ogm system makes for powerful combinations. And indeed it does. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate. Have fun, and don't forget to check out Update 21 on the manual when you can.